Appreciate you coming on, man.
Of course.
Won't take probably an hour of your time, not even, but basically just wanted to get an update, kind of things going on. I sent you some of the details, but this is like I had this YouTube channel, basically started it from obviously ground zero, but it was basically just a collection timeline, essentially. It's like where I started, what I've done, what I've purchased, what I'm doing, anywhere from trading cards, video games, graded video games, some vintage sports cards, more Metro Detroit legends than anything. Go Matthew Stafford.
Oh yeah, I bet you're pulling for him pretty hard.
Oh yeah. I've always been a huge fan of his, so it's pretty awesome seeing his success. So it's crazy. Sad it's not the Lions, but
yeah.
Well, I don't think anybody could ever do that.
As as an Oregon Duck, I feel like we've had a few guys get drafted by the Lions that hasn't worked out very well, a la Joey Harrington and all these guys, and Penei Sewell's there now. But
He's a rock star. Yeah.
Oh, he's a stud. He's a stud. Super nice guy, stud. I mean, he'll be a perennial Pro Bowler, I would imagine.
Yep. Yeah. So hopefully he sticks around, unlike Ndamukong Suh when he left. But
yep,
we'll see how it goes. It's the Lions seems to break people.
Hopefully you guys can change that.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see. But yeah. So I've turned this into some kind of podcast. Been interviewing like big time collectors, kind of getting to know what they're doing. Where they came up, what they're investing in. It's more on the trading card side, which I know you've dabbled in some. I know you talked to Gem Mint Pokemon in I think one of his videos was a while back on eBay days. But yeah, so I definitely would like to introduce yourself to let everybody know who you are, and like to jump into it, man.
Yeah, let's jump into it. Let's do it.
So Jesse, you're the director of business development at PWCC, correct?
Yep, you got it. I'm the guy, so I man our sales team. We have a sales manager, Tony Carley, that I'm sure some people have spoken to as well. But the two of us kind of head our sales department, and then a lot of the relationships that we have with people inside the industry.
Awesome. So I'm very related to that. Like, I'm a business development manager. I manage a account, but I sell fasteners for cars.
Oh, really?
So
that was, it's funny. That was actually, my dad used to own a fastener company. That was the first job I had out of college. I got a business degree from Oregon, and I was going to follow in his footsteps and work for the fastener business. And so he made me work in their warehouse for a full year before he allowed me to do sales. Only problem was, at the end of that year, he decided to sell the company, and he said I wouldn't like the new owner, so I should probably find another job.
Yeah, that's good, man. After you get stuck in fasteners, you'll be there for a long time. I've been doing it for like 11 years, and it's been a ride. So it's fun though.
Good.
But yeah, so I'm really curious on that. I'll get to that in a second. How the sales things work. I'm kind of curious of how those people kind of go through, and do they have accounts and stuff. But also, you were in real estate. I think I saw somewhere. Were you selling real estate, or is it broker, or is it everything?
Yeah, I was a residential real estate broker. So, if you look to sell your house, then you would call me, and I would get it set up and try to get it sold for you.
Awesome. Oh, that's cool. It's a pretty awesome transition, because you went from real estate into PWCC, right?
I did, and I had a background in the card industry. I worked for a dealer in the market for a number of years, leading up to mid to late 2014. That's when I got into real estate, and I did real estate for about 4 years. And PWCC had moved from the Bay Area up to Portland in 2016 when I was still a realtor. And so, having experience in the market, knowing PWCC, knowing Brent, when they moved up here, we'd stay in touch a little bit here and there, and an opportunity presented itself. He made me an offer, and I accepted and got back into cards.
That's awesome, man. So were you collecting kind of the whole time, or kind of took a break after you started?
Yeah, when I got into real estate, I really took a break. We had a 6-month-old daughter when I kind of got out of cards.
Yeah.
And so, focused on just real estate, building that, and didn't really honestly pay a ton of attention to the card business. So, I had to get caught up to speed once I got back in. in 2018, a lot of things had changed, and it was definitely a learning curve getting back in.
Yeah, yeah. It's I look at sports because I follow PWCC religiously, and some of the new sports cards coming out, I just cannot track it. We'll get into that in a minute, but it's just craziness that people that know all these different things, the field levels and the cracked ice, and
The variations are endless. It's hard because, especially as a sales guy, you know, our sales team, we're expected to know everything from T206s to, you know, LaMelo ball cards, and it's really hard to keep up with a lot of the new variations that come out. You know, the other day someone was talking about an elephant print card or what, you know, like one of these prism, you know, variations instead of tiger stripe or zebra. Now there's elephant print. There's these different, you know, there's rattlesnake. There's all these, or snake skin. There's all these different variations of these cards, and it's really hard to keep up with it unless you specialize just in that niche of whatever product that is, or like ultra modern cards. So the learning curve feels like it's never ending.
And still keeping all the knowledge of the vintage, which I know you got to do. So
correct.
Crazy. You have 2 kids?
We have 3 actually. So we have a daughter who's 8, and then we have twin boys that are 5.
That's
so
awesome.
We got our hands full.
Yeah, I got a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, basically 3.5, 1.5, and it's
Oh, you're in the thick of it.
I couldn't imagine having twins. You were hoping for 1, you got 2, basically.
Yeah, we were gonna have 2 kids and ended up with 3. So there you have it.
Are they all? I watched some of your podcasts on PWCC. They all cracking packs now, or is it just?
Yeah, so they love to rip Fortnite cards. That's one of their favorites. But we do rip some other, you know, other sports, basketball and football. I'll bring some stuff home and we'll have a good time with it. So I have a ton of random stuff laying around the house that I need to end up getting rid of. But yeah, it's fun.
No Pokemon for them, huh? Keeping it away from them.
We do have some Pokemon. You know, we've had some clients of mine actually send us packs as gifts for the kids, which has been super nice, and they love it. So, you know, anything, you know, Pokemon, Fortnite, those you know, the TCG stuff, they love.
Wow, yeah, I didn't even think about that because I get lunches sometimes. I'll take people to lunches, but you get cards. It's pretty that's I'd rather have that. It'd be better for the health too. That's cool. Yeah, man, I can't even, like I said, the Pokemon thing, it blew my mind. You're like the Charizard king, because I watched one of your podcasts and you had to guess the price of a Shining Charizard first edition that just sold on your weekly auction like a week ago. Mm-hmm. And you nailed it within like $500, and I was off by like $3,000, and I keep up with it. I watched the auction live.
Get lucky every once in a while.
You literally, with it, like this thing was like 11,500. I think you said 11 grand. I'm like, I know the stuff. I got just blew it out of the water. I did not expect it at all. I was pretty impressed.
That's right.
That was cool. And there was another time I watched. There was another one. You didn't draft the Charizard because you guys do like for your premier auctions. You did a draft.
Yep.
I was kind of sad you didn't take the Charizard, but it's okay. I'll let it pass. But definitely, I'm gonna just plug it right now. PWCC's got a YouTube channel. Definitely underrated. Check it out. Been enjoying it. A lot of it is cross-functional to TCGs, sports cards. Just some of the discussions. The gentleman the main guy, what was his name? That
Justin.
Yes, it is.
Who's doing the weekly show? You mean?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, and that, look, TCG is really important for our business. You know, we sell. I believe we're the largest seller of Pokemon cards in the world. So, you know, TCG it's a big focus of ours. And, you know, with the vault and a lot of, you know, TCG clients being international, there's a lot of use that they can have with our vault service from a lending perspective, storage, digital archival, and you can access it from anywhere in the world. So we focus pretty heavily on TCGs. We have a TCG expert in-house. I do not claim to be a TCG expert. But you know, it's an emerging market. You know, there's a lot of history there as well, and some of the brands are just massive, like Pokemon and Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh, and I mean, it's never ending.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know if you probably haven't seen anything, but I do until this last week. I've been doing like a weekly live, and I've been analyzing the TCG numbers on PWCC's weeklies. And Pokemon has surpassed football, baseball, not combined, but as an individual brand over football, baseball, as far as quantity in the weeklies by a lot. So I don't think they're selling for as much as some of those. Like if you look at the total sale in that weekly football or
you mean like total price versus football and basketball? Yeah. No, the quantity is important though, and I think part of it it stems back to our days on eBay and how we're able to capture a lot of the international audience from eBay. So not only do we have a great audience for TCG, but soccer, it's because of the international piece, right? So we do a lot of soccer, weekly stuff and Premier, and we've just got a really good book of international clients that focus on those things, and they come to our auctions when they're live.
Yep. Yeah, and just a little backstory on me and PWCC, why I started doing this tracking is because I was about to, I think it was like December 31st, I was emailing back and forth with somebody there. I had like 200 cards set aside, probably $80,000 worth of stuff. And literally the next day it dropped, hey, we're going to weekly. Hey, we got a buyer's premium. So I literally just clinched my butt cheeks. I'm like, nope, I got to wait and see how it goes, basically. The timing was impeccable. Like if it was a day later, they would have probably been in the mail. But so that's what I'm doing. I'm tracking to see how it's going. It's going, from what I'm seeing, pretty dang well for the weeklies compared to even what the monthlies were doing. Do you know, like, what was the reason for the change from the monthlies to the weeklies?
Sure. So we always focus on liquidity for our clients, right? So we had this monthly event that we had going on. Once we departed from eBay, we started in October with our monthly auction, and it created this big event.
Yeah.
Well, we listened to our clients. We got a little feedback. They wanted the opportunity to sell more frequently. They felt like they were getting a little burnt out having a full week of auctions, basically, because we split it up by sport. Every different night, a different sport closed, or or TCG. So what we did is we're like, okay, well, what if we had an auction closing every single Sunday? And that means there's consistent flow. Now you as a buyer, so this is good for sellers, you as a buyer get in the habit of always checking PWCC's website, just like you would eBay back in the day or whatever it may be, right? So we know that consistency is key, always having cards for sale on our website, always having cards live at auction, giving you guys as sellers also the flexibility to sell faster whenever you want, pay out faster. So like there's a litany of reasons why we did it. And yeah, it was kind of a quick shift. We went to monthly. We had to do something quickly because of the eBay departure. So we're able to launch a new platform in 6 weeks. Well, then, once you start analyzing it, you have more time to, reflect and look back. You realize it's probably better to do weekly. And so we made the change. Everything we do has our clients in mind, has liquidity in mind. And that's really what we build. And so it was an obvious choice for us when we saw the benefits going to weekly, and we made the call, and I think it's gone really well.
Yeah, it's at least me. I go to your website 4 times as much a month now. It's
Exactly.
I have to almost to see what's going on and see what's closing, see what's just got listed, and definitely the weekly seems to be a really good play for sure. The buyer's premium that basically was tacked on at the same exact time, right?
Yep.
That replaced what was a seller's fee essentially.
Correct.
So
now, yeah, and look, a lot of people look at buyer's premium and they think, oh, that's going to cost me more money. Well, it's not. Like, just take a step back and think about it. You're going to pay whatever that hammer price is. You're going to pay 20% on top of that. So just allocate that and have that in your head from a math perspective. Like, well, if I'm willing to pay $1,000 for this card, I should probably only bid roughly $840, right? And then I'm going to pay 20% on top of that to 1,000. So your budget is your budget, and what a card's worth is what a card's worth. And you're going to pay that 20%. All we did is we came out with a buyer's premium for weekly, which was monthly, to unify all of our pricing, so we can have one rate chart for not only weekly, Premier, but even fixed price now. So everything has one, because it was kind of confusing for people that, oh, we have a buyer's premium for Premier auction, but we don't for weekly or monthly or fixed price. And so that was actually more confusing. And the traditional auction model outside of what is eBay is a buyer's premium. Every other auction house has a buyer's premium. So we just wanted to unify everything, create the buyer's premium, and just change to that process. And for anyone that thinks it's going to cost them more money, they just need to take a step back and look at what they're willing to spend. And that's the most important.
Yeah. No, I agree. Just like the being clear, like, hey, when you place this bid, you're paying an additional 20%. So that definitely is, I think the app is fully updated. Everything,
Yep.
all that is crystal clear now. Because I do have purchased a few things in the last couple of weeklies, so I do have stuff in the vault. Have never submitted to an auction yet, but I almost clicked the button the other day. But how long does it take if I were to submit to an auction? Like, what's the soonest auction if I want to do it today? I could
So it
get in.
depends on timing. If so, right now it's 14 to 20 days in total to get it into the auction. That is if you just like let it go into what we call the hopper, right? So basically we get a big running list of cards that continually come in. They get added to this hopper, and then our team curates a weekly auction off of that. Well, if you have a sales guy, we can kind of grease the tracks a little bit for you, and we can get those into, let's say it's a Monday, and you're like, hey, I really want to get these into the auction that's launching on a Thursday, because every weekly launches on a Thursday and ends on a Sunday. Well, we have the power as a sales team to get those in for you. Additionally, we will have the ability in probably about a month's time, because we just keep building and adding features to these things. So in about a month's time, what we had as a flash option when we were on eBay, it's going to be a similar thing for us. So if you have assets in the vault, you can launch them into an auction that is currently running, which is actually really cool. So let's say you're a basketball guy and Trae Young drops 50 one night, and you're like, oh,
Yep.
I want to sell my Trae Young stuff. Well, it's a Tuesday, and there's a weekly auction running, and you're like, I don't want to wait even to get it into Thursdays to launch for 10 days. I want it to be sold in about 5 days. Well, you can actually request, you'll have the ability to request to put it in the live weekly auction. It'll launch, it'll close on Sunday with everything else. So it gets the attention that all the other cards will. And then from a marketing perspective, each day we can have like newly listed to the current running auction to highlight those newly listed cards. So once again, liquidity, right? It gives you the opportunity to sell when you want with ease and speed. And that's what the vault really does. We already have it titled, it's already imaged, so it's ready to rock and roll. It's just a click of a button. And that should be available roughly 30 days.
So will it be, you think, fully functional on the app as well, like at that point, or is it a little bit behind?
The app's a little bit more difficult. So chances are the app will be a little bit behind the website. The website's always easier to do, and then the app's more difficult. So I would say, expect another month or so after that for the app.
Wow. No, that's huge. So, yeah, that was one of my biggest hangups is like, okay, I get these cards in there and it's going to be 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4, like heritage auctions. I don't know if you're sure you're familiar with it. You could send them, so you got to know a guy. Pretty much.
You do have to know a guy. And look, I like heritage. I've been talking about how I've bought video games and I've sold some video games through them. But yeah, it's more of a process. It's not as streamlined, but that's what the vault enables people to do, is have everything more streamlined, and gives you the ability to sell when you're ready, because timing the markets, as I've learned from the video game market, unfortunately, it took too long to sell them, and a lot of that stuff went back down.
Yep.
But timing is very important, and we want people to have the ability to time it the way they want to, and not have our process get in the way.
Yep. Sure, all the sales guys got hit up in the last week about the Stafford and Burrow cards getting dumped.
Oh, Burrow stuff has been nonstop. It's been absolutely nonstop. So look, I'm pulling. You won't like this as a Lions guy, but I'm pulling for Burrow because it's better for our market. It just really is. He's a stud, and we'll see what happens. But I got to pull for Burrow.
Yeah, I'm sure Burrow had a lot more cards printed in the last 2 years over Stafford.
So he has more cards than Stafford, probably 10x. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And Stafford stuff is usually, because it hasn't been worth a lot, it's in real collector hands, not investor hands, and those guys don't want to sell.
Yeah, I should have bought every Stafford card that existed for like 10 grand like 2 years ago. So
hindsight, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. You never know, but it's absolutely crazy. But right now your app is fully up to date. I haven't used it much. All I do is pretty much on my computer, because I'm on my computer anyways every day. But the app is fully functional as far as bidding, auctions, all of that, right?
It should. I think we're going to have auction bidding very, very soon. It's not totally functioning yet. Okay. Anybody who's built an app knows the complexities of having it talk to the website. And it's much more difficult, especially because our auction software is custom made. We built it, and it's unique and different than anybody's ever done it. So it's taking a little bit longer on the app to get it all on there, but you can buy fixed price cards on the app. You can fully, function or fully manage your entire vault inventory, so you can fulfill, ship, do all that kind of stuff, share cards with people. So everything can be done on the app except for bidding in the auction right now.
Yep. And I definitely appreciate your guys' extended bidding periods. They are very respectable versus some of the other ones I've seen, man. Some of them take like 3 hours. I'm not going to drop any names, but there's some crazy stuff out there, how long some of that stuff takes.
Yeah, that was the idea of weekly, is to really speed it up, right? Let's get this thing going. Let's give people an opportunity to compete, because unfortunately on websites like eBay, when it's done, it's done. And sometimes we've all had it happen, right? You go to buy a card, you're the underbidder, and you're like, damn it, I would have paid another, $100 or $200 or whatever. I would have paid a little bit more than that guy. And so this gives you that opportunity. It really does. And so that's why we love it. And it usually takes just a little over an hour to wrap the whole thing up. And we're talking, 5 to 10,000 cards.
Exactly. Yeah, I found it difficult. The first week was tough for me because there was 4,000 Pokemon cards, I think. I could not keep track. I didn't have enough time to go look at every card, essentially. Yeah. But now it's a lot more. It's like 1,200, I think, this week, and we're closer to something I can manage. So I definitely appreciate that. Is there a limit to get a card into the Premier auction? Like, is there a threshold where you're like, okay, because there was like $30,000 Pokemon cards that were in the weekly that outsold a bunch of Premier cards?
Yeah. So as far as Premier goes, the minimum threshold is about 25K. Now, we all know that there are cards that sell for less than that in there, but we changed our pricing on the Premier auction actually starting Jan 1, where we have a minimum $2,000 fee now. And the reason for that is, imagine a sales team of 10 guys, right? So before, the Premier auction was gated by us allowing a card in if it was kind of like in that 20K range. And so we'd have guys come to us and they'd make an argument to us for why their card should be in the Premier auction, because they want the 360 image, they want the custom video, they want the description and all the extra marketing that comes with that. And so we would have, if each sales guy each month let 2 or 3 cards in that were kind of questionable, well, now we've got 30 to 50 cards roughly that are in the auction that are borderline. And it was watering Premier down a little bit. So we kind of let economics take over. We said, well, why don't we do this? We'll leave it up to the seller, but we're going to have a minimum 2K fee, which basically means like at a hammer price of 20K, someone's going to pay 24, right? The buyer's paying 24. Well, we give 110% of the hammer price of that 20K. Okay. So you'll get 22. So that 2K fee, well, that's our minimum fee now. So really, as a seller, if you think it's borderline 20K, it's up to you to roll the dice. If that thing ends at 17,000, well, you're effectively going to pay a higher percentage than the 10% that we charge for Premier for anything under 250K, right? So it's up to you at this point. And I think it's self-corrected. Like I said, economics took over a little bit. People might not want to take the risk, so they choose to put those in weekly. And then sometimes those cards blow up, and sometimes those cards go for 25, 30K. And so it's a really strong weekly auction. And I think another thing to think about too, as a seller, do you want to be on the lower end of an auction, Premier, where you get the extra love and all that stuff? Or do you want to be at the higher end of the weekly auction and get all the attention because you're one of the most expensive cards? Yep. So, you can make an argument either way. You get the extra love and marketing for Premier, or you have a lot of just natural attention because you're one of the more expensive cards in weekly. So I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. It's up to the seller to make that decision for themselves. But we have both opportunities for them.
Yep. That's awesome. I guess run through an example real quick. Like, say I was going to send the 200 cards. Is there was no fee before January 1st. There was like a promo going on. But now if I want to send 200 cards and I want to put them into the vault, there's a fee, correct?
So the vault is free. I believe it's for cards over 250. Under 250, we just charge a per card fee. $3? I think it's $3 a card, for imaging, ingesting, titling, all that kind of stuff. Over 250, it's free, and then monthly, your insurance is completely free. So if you ever remove those cards from the vault and don't sell through us, now you have a 1% fulfillment fee. And the reason for that is because while they're there, we pay for them. We cover all the costs of having them insured, stored, right, in our possession.
Yeah.
And if they're in there for X amount of time and we're losing money by paying for them to be fully insured and not charging you for that, we're just recouping some of that money when you go to fulfill it. Now, if you sell through us, then it was free the whole time it was in there, and it's free. You don't get charged anything to send it to auction. So that's the big benefit of the vault is you can have that stuff instead of having an individual policy at your house, a collect insure policy, or having it added onto your homeowner's insurance policy, or having it in a safety deposit box that's actually not FDIC insured. You can have it all with us, fully insured, doesn't cost you $1 every single month, and it's all digitally archived and stored. So God forbid something happens to you as well, you can have your significant other or your next of kin, they can have all your login information and they can handle your assets accordingly. And it's all documented.
Yep, that's great. Yeah. And so like when you purchase off of eBay, I know some people, I think internationally do it, right? So if you purchase something off eBay and you have PWCC as your ship to address, are you not paying a sales tax because of the address?
Correct. So sales tax is all based on shipping address.
Yeah.
And when you have a vault account, the PWCC vault is your shipping address. You have a unique address for yourself. It says PWCC vault, has your name and then a little vault number next to it. So when those are shipped to us, it automatically, any system you're in, whether it's eBay, another auction house, sales tax gets zeroed out if you ship to one of the 5 states that doesn't have sales tax, and Oregon is one of them, where we're located.
Gotcha. So if I were to ship it back to me, it would get charged?
From us?
Yeah.
No, you just have to pay that fulfillment fee. So it's just when the shipping occurs. Yeah, it's just when the shipping occurs.
Wow, you probably got a bunch of international people who probably utilize you guys as middlemen, and
they do. Yeah, they'll send stuff to the vault and they'll leave it there because a lot of times, they're worried about customs. Obviously the duties, the fees going in and out of whatever country they may be in.
Yep.
So it's much easier. Yeah, it's much easier for their cards to kind of live and breathe in the States. So we have a lot of people that utilize the vault for that respect as well.
Yeah, it's that was one of my favorite parts is it is the vault. That's where I definitely would like to send some cards to you. I have a full-time job, got the kids. I've been selling on eBay, which is not easy, but I would definitely am entertaining, definitely doing it. So with seeing the sales, seeing everything happen, so I'd definitely be reaching out to somebody to get that moving probably here soon after I get a spreadsheet going. But definitely like what you guys are doing. It's really, really good stuff for everything, for the industry. Some of this, like you had mentioned in one of I think it was Mint Collective you were on. You were more of a vintage guy, and I'm similar. Like I can't do like I mentioned the field levels. I'm more of show me a Gretzky rookie card, Topps OPC, or rookie Barry Sanders. There's not all these different variants.
Right.
Is there a reason that you're that way, or is it something similar?
So for me right now, there's 2 things. So I didn't buy cards for my first couple of years at PWCC, except for I was a Tiger Woods guy. So I bought a bunch of Tiger Woods autos. I don't have them anymore. I sold them before they even went up in the peak because I was always fully transparent with my clients and told them that's what I bought. So I'm biased, but I still think Tiger's cheap. And I had too many guys reach out to me within the same week after a record sale asking to buy them, and it just felt weird. And so I ended up getting rid of them. And I sold them for about probably a quarter of what they're worth now. So and I still believe in Tiger. I still think his stuff is inexpensive, and I don't own a single Tiger Woods card. What I do buy now, so I didn't buy for a long time because I was advising clients on what I thought was a good investment, and I've taken a step back from that. I don't talk to guys a whole lot anymore. I'm one of the guys that helps run the company and make decisions for our company, and so the day-to-day conversations around investing, I'm not a big part of anymore. So I felt like from a conscious perspective, like I'm opened up now to buy some stuff, and I'm still fully transparent about what I am buying. So there's 2 things that I focus on that I really love. One of them is vintage cards. I just think that vintage cards are safer. There's less volatility. I think that, in the long run, they're old, right? There's not that many of them depending on what card you're talking about. So finding them from an eye appeal perspective really matters. So finding them in high grade with good eye appeal is something I focus on, some of the GOATs for each respective sport. The second thing that I think it's starting to gain some steam, but I've just seen in the last year or 2, price-wise, some things don't make sense to me, and that is game-used patch cards versus player-worn, or the new thing is like, this patch is not from any specific event or whatever, right? So cards that have patches on them that the player actually had, he wore in an NBA game or NFL game or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
I have been buying up some of the greatest of all time for those guys. So I've been buying up Brady patch cards when I can find them. LeBron, Jordan. There's not a ton of Jordan stuff out there except for, exquisite stuff, which gets pretty spendy. Curry, those kind of guys. Giannis. Those are the game used patches is something that I really focus on. I just think that there's a ton of opportunity there. And in the long run, products like Flawless Basketball, which is all game used, right?
Yep.
I don't understand why NT is worth more. It makes zero logical sense to me. NT costs less per box than Flawless does. Flawless is way more fun of a rip. No card is serial numbered more than 25, and it's all game used. And NT is player worn.
Yeah.
They could have worn it in a photo shoot. They could have worn it, they could have gone in the locker room, gone like this, taken it off, and now it's player worn technically, right? Yep. So I know the market has always looked at NT probably like, you talk about like Luka, right? The difference between a Flawless Luka and an NT Luka, it's like 2 or 3x. NT's worth way more. Now I get it. It's got a bigger patch window. Maybe that accounts for some of it so you can have a cooler patch. But that patch is not even game used. So for me, it's Flawless all day, no question. And so that's why I've been buying stuff. You go back in the day a little bit more, and some immaculate stuff's game used. A lot of the exquisite stuff is game used. But that's the stuff that I buy and I focus on.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of similarities, like just thinking like investment stuff. I'm thinking like stocks versus crypto. Like stocks are like the old school rookies. Crypto is the new stuff.
Yep.
And Pokemon, it's similar. You got the vintage Pokemon, which is all I've ever dealt with.
Mm-hmm.
And then modern Pokemon, which is a lot more volatile. You can rip packs to maybe get the pull card. Maybe it'll go up in value in the future. Probably not as high of a spike as some of the rookie cards from sports, but also in Pokemon, they're talking to do numbered cards. It's speculation.
Oh, really? Interesting.
It's a lot of speculation.
That'd be fun.
Magic the Gathering got into it,
okay.
Or announced it. Like, I don't know if they started it. I'm not too deep into it, but there's a lot of people talking about it happening just because everybody else is doing it. MetaZoo did it.
Sure.
And that could be interesting. I'm personally not a fan. Looking at the sports cards, like you see a 1-of-1 Brady from 2021. Like, who the hell wants a 2021 Tom Brady card? Like, he's good, but I guess there's only one of those cards.
Sure.
I don't.
I think the allure for those kind of cards is that people that are into that product, whatever it may be, that are into the ultra modern, well, that's obviously one of the chase cards, right? I mean, he's the greatest of all time. Even though it's not a rookie, it's one of the bigger names from that product, and so I think that's why people latch onto those. And there is one more thing that I collect that I actually didn't really talk about, and that's Fortnite cards. Because the ripping that we do with the kids, I actually started really enjoying them. I bought them all. I bought a ton of stuff, packs for my kids to rip, to have some fun with them. And then I got into them. I've never played a single minute of Fortnite in my life, but I have a pretty decent, I've bought some great, graded Fortnite cards as well. And I think because of how big that brand is, there's going to be movies about it. I just think it's got a lot of longevity. And I think that long-term, I think that Fortnite cards will do well.
Yeah. I've seen some pretty high prices. It blew my mind on some auctions. It's similar to like MetaZoo. That's pretty new, and those prices are just unreal sometimes. I can't fully understand it, but it's happening. So, but yeah, Fortnite's pretty big brand as well.
Yep, totally.
It's growing. What about your video game? You had mentioned you bought and sold some. What vintage, like Nintendo or?
Yeah, so I'm like a SNES guy. There's certain games that just spoke to me that I played as a kid. I probably haven't really played a video game in 15 years, but we're talking Tecmo Bowl, NBA Jam, Mario Kart. Some of those games are just nostalgic. So I get it, and I think that the reason I started investing in video games was the supply, I can imagine, is really low. A sealed video game, like who the hell didn't open a video game back in the day, right? It's almost like sealed wax. Like who didn't?
Exactly.
That's why it's so hard to find 50s, 60s, 70s wax that's still sealed. It's just rare. So It was just a supply and demand thing for me, and it was nostalgic and it was kind of fun. I still don't know a ton about video games. I haven't done a ton of time researching. I was just kind of paid whatever I felt was appropriate at the time, and some I've sold, some I hung on to.
Oh yeah, yeah. That Heritage Signature auction just happened. I don't know if you saw John Madden football sell for over 400,000 or something.
Unfortunately, I don't have one of those.
It's crazy, man. Some of the stuff. It's is PWCC, I know, on eBay sold a couple video games through auction.
We have them. I mean, we actually have quite a few stored in the vault. Because we don't just store graded cards. We store wax. We store video game, anything that's slabbed, comics, video games, wax, oversized photos, those kind of things. Those are all in the vault. Higher end memorabilia we store for certain people. But yeah, we have all that stuff. Auctioning it, we haven't focused. We're trying to perfect trading cards. You've got a lot of other auction houses diving into other things because there's money to be made there, and we get it. We want to perfect the graded trading card first, and we don't think we're there yet. So we're taking all of our energy and our resources and our expertise and pouring that into the graded trading card community, and not really deviating from that yet. In the future, that might be a different story once we feel like all of our marketplaces are set. We have everything we want from a tools perspective for our clients, a liquidity perspective, and then we can dive in to those other markets that might be similar. But right now we're just focused on trading cards.
Yeah, no, you guys got it pretty well cornered for the trading cards. I dabble with all the other marketplaces. The only one that I could think of right behind you is Heritage. They do weekly auctions with trading cards, video games, and you're talking like 100 cards a week. So it's crazy the numbers that's going through PWCC.
Yep, no, I appreciate it. Like I said, when you focus, I got to plug in my laptop here. When you focus on it, and we're trying to be, in what we believe we are, the expert in trading cards in our market. And so when all your time and energy is poured into that one specific category, you have the ability to do that.
Yeah, awesome. Well, man, I don't got much more for you. That's pretty awesome. Appreciate you answering all my questions. Pretty much sold me on it. You still got the sales in you. Tell all your sales guy, hey, I made a sale today, probably.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah, thanks for having me on. Thanks for the time. And anybody that needs anything from us, reach out through. We have a chat on our website, and then they can link you up with a sales guy if you don't already have someone assigned to you. But we're happy to help. We're going to keep growing this thing, and go to pwccmarketplace.com and check us out.
Yeah, I'll definitely leave the YouTube that you've been on quite frequently lately, and also your PWCC Marketplace on there. So awesome. Everyone get to it, man. I appreciate it again, and don't work too hard, man. You guys have a good one, all right?
All right, thanks, Josh. Appreciate it.
Not a problem, man. I'll talk to you.
All right.